Good morning. This is Attorney Vincent Davis, and this is The Secret: How to Fight CPS and Win. We were supposed to have a guest this morning, and the guest hasn't called in or logged on. So we're going to have to do a version of the show when I take questions and answers from the audience. Just post your questions and answers, and I'll also talk about some techniques that I have. All right. I'm getting a message that my internet connection is a little shaky. I don't know why. I'm plugged directly into the network, so we'll see what's going on. Anywho's, let's talk first about the detention hearing. It's usually the first hearing that you have during, your case when your child is taken away from you. I think I happen to have a video on the detention hearing. Yes, I do. Here's a video, a YouTube video short that I have. And again, if you guys have questions, make sure you post them. I'll be answering questions this morning. All right. These are my detention hearing tricks. Your first hearing before the juvenile court in a CPS case. The one thing that you have to remember is you have to remember to argue and to show that the social worker did not offer you services in order to prevent the detention and placement of your children in a foster home. The social worker has to prove two things at a detention hearing, at least in California, and I would guess in other states, but check with your attorney. The social worker has to show that, you're some type of substantial risk to the child. That's pretty hard to do, especially if this is a one-time incident or the problem has been resolved. But the other thing they have to do is they have to show that they offered you services that would prevent detention. Talk to your attorney before going. I think I may have stopped that tape prematurely. All right. So when you're at the detention hearing, one of the things you have to argue to the judge is that you are not a substantial risk to the child. They have to prove, meaning CPS has to prove that you're a substantial risk to the child and that there are no alternatives. A lot of times that second prong of the test is forgotten. Make sure that you and your attorney don't miss that prong of the test. Because if they don't show that there are less restrictive alternatives, the child is supposed to be returned to you. I tell a story, and this was a few years ago, of a case that I did in front of a judge who I thought was a new judge to dependency. And we argued back and forth about whether the parent was a risk to the child. And I argued that the parent wasn't a risk. Well, we went back and forth. And eventually the judge made a ruling. And the ruling was that the department didn't show that there were less restrictive alternatives. So the judge released the child to me or to my client, and we won the detention hearing. I just got a text message from one of the viewers that says my screen is black. So I don't know if you're having problems videoing me or seeing my video or hearing my audio, please let me know because I am getting this weird message on StreamYard that says there's something wrong with my internet connection. So hopefully that isn't a problem. Yeah, they're still texting me saying yes, that my video is slow and black and that there's a bad lag. So please let me know. You're saying it's lagging a bit, which is interesting because I 3D, yes, it's live. It's supposed to be live, and I'm having some internet issues. Oh, ANG says, I see it fine. Okay. Anyway, Alyssa David says, Riverside County CPS out my spouse and I'm in jail, and the DA Child Abduction Unit issues a warrant saying we were absconding with our 5-month-old. That has and had no CPS referral or allegations. They just took her to add her to see my case that a bonding expert has reported a bond with my older 2 kids. And then Alyssa says, I completed services 3 times, got in a home, nurse, etc. They didn't and don't care. Okay, Alyssa, I think you're saying that you haven't gotten the child back. I'm getting a lot of posts from people and texts from people saying that the audio and video feed are very much degraded, and I hate that that's happening. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to have to end today's show. I'm sorry, because we're having some type of technical difficulties. I'm sorry, all. We're going to be back on the air tomorrow at 7 p.m. I hope to see you there tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have my technical difficulties completed and fixed. Have a good Sunday, everyone.